coming. Thank you all for your support. This is my first event ever, so I appreciate all of you being here. I started this platform in January of this year, so we just became 2 months on March 11th. So I'm just like facing my fears and just doing it, and it will grow over time. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for your time. I hope you all learned something today that you can apply to your journeys or transitions. So we'll get started. Hi everyone, I'm Ashley Jeter. I am the host and founder of All Things STEM with Ashley, and today we are at our International Women's Networking Mixer. So thank you for coming. We're going to start off with introductions of each of our panelists. And today we have Zaire, Nermeen, Sierra, Janessa, and Kirsten. So go ahead, Zaire.
Hi everyone, my name is Zaire Sylvia, and I've been in the aerospace and defense industry for 9 years and counting, and I have 3 different degrees. I have an aerospace engineering degree, a space systems degree, and an MBA. And I love what I do, so I am a project engineer, and I might be transitioning to something greater in the future, but only time will tell. With that being said, I'm going to pass it on because the questions that Ashley's going to ask us, you'll find out more about my industry and what I do going forward.
Thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Nermeen. I graduated from the University of Connecticut with 2 bachelor's degrees, one in business with a focus on data analytics, marketing, and management. And the second one is urban community studies. I figured if I'm going to work with people, I want to learn how to work with people, understanding people's different cultures and heritage. I always wanted to become a pilot, so that's what drew me into the aerospace industry. And I love making my computer do my work, so that's what got me into digital transformation. So it's kind of my laziness. This is what made me this way.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Sierra Murdoch, and I have 7 years of professional experience in the aerospace and defense industry. I started off as a supplier quality engineer. I now work as a software product acquisition manager. I have a BS in mechanical engineering from Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I am currently pursuing my master's in engineering management at Southern Methodist University here in Dallas, Texas. I'm excited to be here, excited to get to know my panelists, as well as I'm excited for you to hear my journey.
Hello everyone, my name is Janessa Wilkins. I earned my bachelor's in electrical engineering from Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland in 2014, and then earned my master's in electrical engineering from Texas A&M University in College Station in 2015. Upon graduating, I went into a national laboratory out in New Mexico, did a couple of years out there, and then transferred to a missile defense company here in Dallas, Texas, where I'm currently working. So that is my journey into engineering at surface level. And I'll get more into that as we go through this panel.
Hello everyone, my name is Kirsten Johnson. I have a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from Texas Tech University, and then I went on to get a master's of science in technology commercialization, which is a degree that focuses on analyzing emerging technology and creating a viable product to bring to the market. I've had a career building and working on innovative projects, specializing in AI, augmented reality, and also the defense industry. I have 6 years experience in all of that, and I'm excited to talk to all of you guys about this.
Thank you guys. Thank you everyone. A little bit about me. I studied metallurgical engineering and material science at the University of Alabama, Roll Tide. And then I continued my studies at Vanderbilt University, where I studied engineering management, and I've been in the aerospace industry for about 6 years now, 6 years in July. So I'm excited for you all to be here today. Thank you. So now we're gonna go down the line for everybody. And we're going to talk about how did you get introduced to STEM and what inspired you to pursue a career in STEM. So,
For me, I wanted to be an astronaut, and so with being an astronaut, I had to use Google's and figure out how did you actually become an astronaut and what kind of fields and degrees that you use to actually get into a career. So most of the time, they all used aerospace, or you went to the military. And I came from a military family. My mom served, my grandmother served, but I didn't want to serve in the military. And I knew for myself that I can go into aerospace and defense and create products to serve and give back to the people that created military products that brought someone home to me that I loved, but I didn't want to do that for myself. But for me to keep going and to be doing my journey to becoming an astronaut, I did aerospace engineering, and then that's how come I did space systems engineering. And that's how come I might not stay in my job very much longer if I can become an astronaut. So NASA, if you're hearing me, look for my application.
Thank you. Like I said earlier, I always wanted to become a pilot, so that's what drew me into the aerospace industry. And so I just kept on doing more and more research. I loved helicopters and started working on helicopters for about 3 years, and just learning a little bit more and more, and hopefully in the future I can go get my pilot's license. But first I have to understand how they operate so it can help me become a better pilot, hopefully in the future.
Ooh, y'all smile. Look like y'all want to be here. Oh, we have a smile while we look at each other. The picture's gonna be cute, okay?
So for me, myself, I was always a curious person and trying to understand how things work. And I really excelled in science and math throughout elementary, middle, going into high school. A part of that, I also had engineering women in my family, so they kind of gave me a slight introduction to, hey, I can be a woman and an engineer. So I was afforded the opportunity in high school to be a part of a pilot program where you can follow an engineering track. And there, it taught me civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical, architecture. So I just continued really my journey from high school into college to become or study mechanical engineering. So that's my next one.
So my engineering journey started in high school as well. So originally I didn't know what I wanted to do in college, but I knew I wanted to make a lot of money. And so my best friend was like, well, you really are good at math and science kind of naturally, so I think you should look into engineering because that's what my brother does at his school. He went to Virginia Tech at the time. So I said, okay, I'll do some research into it. And so I did a lot of research, and unironically, the first engineering school in the nation was about 10-15 minutes from my house, and that's Rensselaer Polytechnical Institute. And they had a program for high school students to come and learn about engineering. So that summer I applied, I got into the program, and learned a lot more classroom work and kind of the hands-on stuff that engineers do in the different disciplines within engineering. And that really helped push me to start my career in engineering once I started applying to college programs in universities that had engineering programs at them. So, and I ended up picking electrical as my discipline because I really gravitated toward some of the electrical engineering programs that they had at that summer program.
So my journey, I guess like everyone else, it kind of started in high school, but I didn't have anyone around me that had an engineering career or anything like that. I just knew that calculus and physics were my favorite subjects, and I figured, oh, okay, I can do engineering. Also, my calculus teacher took us on a field trip to a local engineering company in like the city that we grew up in. And so I was able to see people who have these real jobs, solving real world problems and doing everything. That kind of inspired me to pursue engineering opposed to like physics or math or something. And also I was driven by wanting a high paying job. So.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for explaining that to us about how you got involved in STEM. Next, we're going to ask Nermeen and Janessa, have you had any mentors who helped shape your journey in STEM? If so, who are they and how did they impact you?
One of the greatest mentors that I had was a previous leader who really helped me understand what curiosity can actually do for you, and networking, and also emotional intelligence. It's not just talking to people, it's really understanding the room, understanding what you're doing and how it impacts others. And there are a lot of times where I didn't pay attention to that, or just said, hey, there's something that needs to get done. And he really taught me how to take that step back. And you know, I grew up in a very, very strict Moroccan household where everything had to be perfect. And so he just helped me understand just taking those additional steps, just breathe. And I think having someone who's a big advocate for you, whether you're there or not, and just constantly trying to find opportunities for you, and make sure you're compensated properly. And those are the amazing leaders that I'm very thankful for. He really made sure that he was supportive of me at all times, and just helped me understand where I went wrong, and not just say, hey, this is wrong, but more providing a solution and how I can be a better person.
So for me, my mentorship came from, while I was in high school, it came from my best friend's brother, who was going through his matriculation at Virginia Tech as an engineer. And then also my guidance counselor, she was the one that, you know, was with me, helping me kind of do my SATs and really helping me focus more so on like the math section of the SAT, given the program that I was trying to get into. She was a big push. Also at the time, my physics teacher, she really worked with me because she thought it was really cool that I was actually pursuing engineering once I graduated high school, so she played a big part in that. And then when I left, I went to school, you know, very far away from where I grew up, so I kind of lost touch with those people. But when I arrived at college, some of my professors, as well as a few peers, but more so my professors, were really the ones that helped kind of guide me and gave me that mentorship through my matriculation at Morgan State, specifically my digital logics professor, because that was one of the classes. At this point, I was a junior in my degree, and I was feeling like, do I still want to do engineering? I don't know, nothing's calling to me. And that was probably the first class that actually caught my interest in engineering. It took a while for me to actually like something within the electrical engineering curriculum. And so I asked her, I was like, what do I have to do to do this industry-wise? Like once I get out of this class and graduate, what path am I supposed to take so I can keep doing this and, you know, stay in love with what this degree is giving me? So she's the one that really helped coach me and really helped me understand, you know, what to look for when I graduated from college, and she really helped push the recommendations for me to go to grad school and, you know, write my recommendation letter and stuff like that. So she was a great help for that that matriculation on me. So
Thank you, Nermeen and Janessa. Did anyone want to add anything before we move forward? All right. So next for Sierra and Zahir, we have, for those seeking mentorship, how should you go about finding a mentor?
My advice I would give people is, and I even give myself, is first understand what your goals are in the first 5 to 10 years. Where do you see yourself? And the thing that helped me was, like, if I wanted to be in leadership, I looked for people who exemplified those qualities, whether they were a good speaker or very technically advanced and knew how to explain it to people who didn't have understanding of technical ideas. So I really honed in on, hey, what do I want to be in the next 5 years, and who can help me get there? And I think that's important. Know where you want to be, and then find people who exemplify what you want to be.
And then also, it's not all about the numbers, so you don't want to have too many mentors. It's about the value you're getting from your mentors. So having too many mentors can be bad sometimes. So looking for the value in that strong mentors. So sometimes having 2 mentors that can actually help you review your resume, also help with like interviewing you and give you constructive feedback is really helpful in like moving you down your career path as well. And then also just being really honest with you, because if you have someone that's just kind of giving you just a little bit of like cheesy feedback and not really telling you the hard truth, you're not going to grow as an individual.
Thank you. So next we have a question for Kirsten and Noreen. What key skills, both technical and soft, do you think are critical for women in STEM to develop early in their careers?
Yeah, I'll start off with the technical piece, especially in STEM. It's constantly changing, so you really have to be open to change, learning new tools. I would say start off with like just the basics, learning the Microsoft 365 products, just understanding how you can automate some of your tedious day-to-day tasks. And I would also, there's like Tableau, there's all of these different tools, but Microsoft 365 tools are something that most companies have, and just understanding the technology that your field uses so you can get a better understanding of how you can apply it, and especially when you're problem solving. And for soft skills, I would say communication and emotional intelligence. If you're not able to communicate what you're going through, what solution you need, it's going to be difficult for someone to understand what you needed. That's something that I learned, especially being a foreigner and having to learn English. It was very difficult for me to communicate what I needed, and I'm very thankful for tools like ChatGPT and other tools because they do help. There's things that I thought I wrote properly, but when I put it into ChatGPT, it shows that, wow, I didn't communicate exactly what I was looking for. It's just giving that direct question or giving that direct request and getting that back. So I think a lot of people don't work on their communication right away. But I think that's a critical soft skill in STEM, especially when you're looking at requirements and technical requirements and understanding how you're able to communicate to someone who doesn't understand a product. So I think, to me, that's very important.
Thank you. A lot of what I have to say is very similar to what she just mentioned. On the technical aspect, I think it's important to look at how times are changing, where industries are going. And I feel like programming and data analysis skills are increasingly important, even in traditional engineering roles today. So being able to be a agile engineer, technical person, and using different tools that are coming out today can keep you ahead and allow you to keep bringing value to the companies that you work for or what your discipline is. Being able to automate certain processes of your job so that you can focus on the more important things. AI is obviously important. You can even just know how to prompt ChatGPT in a better way to give you, the best responses that you need. I think that's very important. And on the soft skills side, again, communication is very important. If you can't clearly explain like a technical concept, that's just as important as understanding it. So being able to communicate the granular details of like what you're doing is critical to excelling in your job. And I think I would also add social engineering. So understanding the people that you work with, how do they respond to certain methods of communication? How do you ask this person for help? Or maybe you have to explain a little bit more to this person, like why you need it versus the fact that you need it. And that kind of helps you get what you need from people, just knowing like their personality, how to work with them, and how to team up with them. So those are very important things.
Thank you, everyone. So this question's for everybody. It is, what has been your proudest achievement in your career so far? So, any order, anybody? Well, since you got the mic. Okay, Noreen can go first.
Proudest career achievement or
Any achievement in your STEM journey.
Ooh. I would definitely say it's not fully achieved yet, but still working on the emotional intelligence piece and the communication. It's still something that I'm struggling with. That's something that I've been putting more and more effort about and speaking up at work. Sometimes not a lot of people want to talk more about it, or they feel like you're offending them, or why are you asking? And so just coming out of my shell and just being someone who's going to actually speak up, and that's been very difficult for me. So to me, that's one of my proudest achievements, is being able to speak up more.
I would say my proudest achievement will be first getting my master's degree. I will be the first in my family to get a master's degree, so I'm very proud of that. Additionally, being that I have a background in mechanical engineering, I was able to switch to software product acquisition. That's my proudest achievement, because even though I did not study software, I was able to still, be who I am, be curious, ask for help, do the things I need to do to still be a good candidate for the role I currently have. So I'm very proud of being able to switch lanes and being successful at it.
Very similarly to her, when I graduated undergrad, I got picked up by the national laboratory that I talked about earlier in New Mexico. They picked me up for a fellowship program, so I was able to earn my master's through that program and graduate without any debt, I graduated undergrad without debt as well, which says a lot in this century. So very proud of that. And then also, I was the first person that they actually hired from my university, which actually helped them bridge a gap in going directly to that university, moving forward to recruit and actually get engineers from the engineering program at my university. So I was pretty proud. I was like the pioneer of them, going and networking with my old university. So.
Amazing. That's nice. So what I have to talk about, it's like a specific project that I did a few years ago, back when I was doing augmented reality, offering those services to different people. I did an AR art mural for a board that was in Houston. So the guy, he had a mural that was sort of like a Monopoly board and third ward, which was representative of the growing gentrification going on in the area for those historically Black neighborhoods. And the idea was to show the different generic townhomes that they're building in those neighborhoods for different pieces on the board. And we were able to animate the Monopoly board and show the pieces going across everything. And I thought that was really nice and significant, because it played a different piece and spoke to social issues that are going on in the area. I thought it was really nice to be able to bring someone's idea to life through AR. So.
Awesome. And now, Zaires.
Okay, so this is an interesting story. It's not really interesting, it's my story. But, so in 9th grade, I have dyslexia. So 9th grade, I went to high school with a 2nd grade reading level. But, extremely smart, I tried to sign up for pre-AP chemistry, but they didn't want me to take pre-AP chemistry because they said that it was going to be too hard for me. So I had a meeting with my guidance counselor, the principal, I believe my basketball coach was there, and then my parents and my teacher, and I had to convince them why I had needed to take that class. And I told them that I was capable of taking that class. And fast forward, I was able to get all of these degrees. But the thing is, with the space systems degree, I was number 3, so I was the 3rd African American to graduate from that program. And so that's what I thought about, that I'm the happiest and proudest moment in my career about, is that thinking about that 14-year-old girl sitting in that principal's office when they said that this is too hard for you. And I'm I'm doing rocket science now. You're telling me pre-AP chemistry is too hard for me. No, it's not. So you can do whatever you want to do. Just you gotta put your mind up to it at that point in time.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Zaire. So next we have for Nermeen and Sierra, how do you balance being authentic while maintaining professionalism in STEM spaces? Oh, anybody can have it. Sierra, let's start with Sierra.
I was always going first. I was just
Yeah.
letting.
Oh,
You're fine.
Go ahead.
I would say first, still remember it is a place of business. So there are policies in place to make sure we adhere to. However, when we think of being authentic, you have your core values, your integrity, your honesty, your kindness. So how you show up in your day-to-day should also reflect in how you show up with who you work with, whether it's a group of engineers or someone maybe younger than you that needs help. I think your core values and who you are as a person will ultimately show up. So that's my advice.
Good advice. Yeah, it's hard to keep up an act for a very long time. I would just say be yourself. Like, you know, I keep on going back to it, but the way I was raised is like we're very family oriented, and people will sometimes think, oh, why are you being nice? Or like, do you have an agenda or something? But it's like, no, that's just how we grew up. Like, I would bake and bring sweets in to work, and people would say like, why? Why are you doing it? It's like, it's because we love sharing food from our country. And so a lot of people told me you should stop doing that. Don't do that, because people think you'll have a hidden agenda. So and people said don't be kind because you don't want people to use you. And I said I'm not going to sit there and be me, and I'm going to be who I am. And the people who truly respect you and respect who you are will always be there and be an advocate for you, even if you're someone is kind and constantly feel like you're being used and not being respected. I would say just continue to be yourself, because you can only keep an act for so long. So
Thank you, ladies. Next for Kirsten, Janessa. Oh, Janessa, did you want to add something on that last one?
No, I don't.
Okay. Next, for Kirsten and Janessa, we have, can you please share some effective strategies for networking within STEM fields, and how has networking played a role in your career growth? Also, how do you find networking opportunities?
Okay, so for me, a big part of networking is, well, engineers as a whole kind of have this stereotype of being kind of antisocial and not really communicative. I guess a lot of people heard it. So yeah, I think for us, it's like being able to push yourself out there takes a lot out of us. We tend to be a little more introverted and a little more to ourselves. And that's fine, that's a personality trait. But when you get in these spaces where people can have a great influence on your career, you know, your matriculation through college, etc., it's important to kind of break out of that shell, even just for a moment. And if that's practicing, you know, just day-to-day conversations, hi, how are you? Because at one point I was even bad at that. You know, it's really important. Those skills are really, really important. And being able to be rememberable when you walk out of a room is really important. For me, it probably started when I started going to conferences like NSBE conference, Women in Engineering conference, etc. when I was an undergrad. I never really had to be in a space where I sold myself. You know, in high school, you kind of have these little, like McDonald's, Walmart type of jobs. You don't really have careers. And so you're in a space and you're competing against thousands of other students. And so just being able to navigate a conversation and being able to be, you know, polite and formal, but also, you know, personable is really, really important. So going up and talking to recruiters, and also keeping that cadence, even like outside of the career fair, for example. You know, if you run into somebody in the elevator having a conversation, because sometimes opportunities come from those interactions that you don't really, you know, think too hard on. You know, you're not in the suit, you're not, you know, whatever the case may be. Maybe you're going down for breakfast in your hotel, and, you know, one of the recruiters from Microsoft is in the elevator, which was the perfect time to have a conversation and, you know, really make an impact. And then that sometimes can turn into something else. I've gotten business cards and things like that from those really small social interactions. So really just learning those skills, and I know it's kind of tough and painful for some engineers and like draining, because you know, after conferences I'm like, I need a weekend. So I get it. It's really draining to talk to, you know, dozens and dozens of people and stuff like that, but it's really impactful and it can really help propel you into your career. So that's my little 2 cents.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything she has to say. Like me, myself, naturally, I was introverted as well. But I knew that eventually I couldn't like go along my career continuing to be like that. I needed to be able to go up to someone and talk to them and start a conversation, or like when you're walking in the hallway, actually look at them in their eye and smile or wave instead of just trying to look the other way. And once you do those small steps, you gain more confidence, you're able to, you know, be more resilient in having like those long career day interviews and talks with recruiters and stuff like that. So obviously going to conferences like NSB, Society of Women Engineers, and different things, career fair on your campus is really good. Just try to utilize student organizations as often as possible. You can even get on Eventbrite and find an event like this and stuff like that. So I think those are all things that are very important for you to, you know, find your way to network and get with people. Again, with being able to articulate like your experience and how valuable you are, I would even go as far as saying it would be valuable to have like experience in sales and being able to know, like, you look at a topic or concept, you know how to sell it to someone. You can sell these recruiters on your experience and how it's applicable to the job that they're trying to hire for. So,
Thank you, ladies. We're on our last two questions. So for Kirsten and Zaire, what resources would you recommend to those pursuing STEM careers? Or we can skip this.
resources, again, the student organizations that I mentioned before, but also you can look into different hackathons that companies have, like Google and DevPost is a good website where they have different hackathons, and they're centered around like a common problem that they want people to try and solve. So doing that, you can spend a weekend with a team of people or do it by yourself. You can, develop problem-solving skills even if you don't have like a background in coding, software, and engineering or anything like that. I think those are different methods to, kind of give you all of that type of experience.
Thank you.
For me, I also did engineering camps. So I attended like Texas A&M's. They had a engineering camp over the summer when I was in middle school. And then being here in Texas, they had like a project lead. Actually, no, they're like I don't know what it was called, but it was something in Texas. They had like an academy program, and you got to go to like the state capitol, Houston, and some other places. And then that was like engineering based. And then there was like Project Lead the Way, and there was multiple areas in the country. And I got to go to like Berkeley and got to do engineering for like 2 weeks. So there's multiple resources out there. You just kind of use the Google machine. It's really easy. Just Google. And at this point in time, we have ChatGPT. If you don't want to Google, just ask ChatGPT, and it will provide you a list of resources at this point in time. So use the resources at your hands. Be smart, but be lazy at the same time.
So this last question is for anybody. It's just a tip of advice you would give to people thinking about majoring in a STEM field. So it could be 2 or 3 people.
My advice would be to believe in yourself and believe in your capabilities, and also be honest with yourself. You may not be the best at something, like they said, find the resources to grow in that. And outside of that, believing in yourself, I would say be dedicated to what you choose to do. I'm a firm believer in when I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to, even if I cry and stress, all these things, I'm going to do it because that's what I've set my mind to, and I'm just a big believer in that.
To build off of what she said, I'll also say it's very, very important to network. Engineering, a lot of it is not necessarily what you know, but who you know. Some of the opportunities come from just general relationships with people and just meeting people, and not necessarily what's on that resume paper. So, your impact is a big deal. And also find a mentor if you can. And I think it's important to find one for engineering, like your career, your school, but also just in life in general. Being an adult is hard, and sometimes we're just kind of catapulted at the age of 18 into it. So just having somebody there that could kind of help you and balance you and keep you, on top of your game is really, really important.
So another thing, if you're in college too, it's important to have like a community of people that's also pursuing the same degree or same classes as you. You guys can help each other out with homework, or you can rely on each other for extra resources, study guides and everything. And it's very important to learn how to learn. It's so common to listen to a lecture or read a chapter and you don't even know what you just read. And by the time you have to take the test, like you're basically trying to relearn everything you did in the semester. So understand like how to learn the concepts of what your professor is teaching you over, just being able to solve all the homework problems. It'll get you very far.
I think another thing that helped me was internships. Try to get as many internships as possible. There are a lot of high school internships that people aren't aware of, and especially if you're just curious. And throughout those internships, most companies provide mentors as well that can actually guide you to what you need. And there's an organization called Inroads that helps a lot of like college students with their internships, and it really helps guide them to a path of whatever, like engineering, business. So I just think doing internships is one of the most amazing things, because you actually get to do the work and you're learning it, and you have a lot of amazing mentors that will guide you and be there, and they open up a lot of opportunities for you that you probably weren't even aware of. So.
And finally, just to make sure that you have a support system. Because at the end of the day, what we all kind of talked about is that there's going to be times that you're going to cry. There's going to be times that you might not necessarily know what to do, and you want to have your support system. It could be your family, it could be your community at college, it might be a professor, it could be somebody at work, but you need to have your support system. Have someone that you trust in any stage of your life, and make sure that they are trustworthy, because not everybody is trustworthy.
That's right. Well, thank you, ladies, and thank you, everyone, for coming out. We appreciate all of you. We appreciate Women in STEM, our allies here, our Men in STEM here. We are having a Men in STEM panel in June, so look out for that. And I learned everything that I got to do with this one. I know now. I know now. So we just want to thank everybody. Special shout out to Warren helping set up. Thank you to Doug for helping with videography, and just thank you all for your support. I do appreciate you all believing in this journey with me and coming out and using your Saturday really to spend this time with us. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. And I really appreciate you guys. Like, I can't believe this. So let's see where it grows over the next 5 to 10 years. Huh?
Do you have any advice you don't want to offer to people?
Y'all know my episode is coming soon. But the advice I will say is everybody had amazing advice. Definitely believe in yourself. Know that you can do anything you put your mind to. Just research, get those resources, utilize those resources, and just believe in yourself, and it can happen. So yeah, that's all for me. So thank you for those watching on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and follow us. Bye-bye. Y'all wave to the camera. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. It was wonderful, filled with so many tips for success, learning about people's journeys, learning their wisdom and knowledge. So thank you again to all of my panelists. A special shout out to Mr. for photography, Warren, Doug, and Tommy for helping set up and break down. We thank you for our Men in STEM and our allies of Women in STEM for helping make today happen as well. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you. Bye.